things that we wanted to talk about was preventative maintenance. And we have lots of different products in the lineup today, and the thing that I would recommend is a service kit. And this is something that's available at the dealership. It's based on the product, or what we refer to as a series, like the 1130 series is any MS 170 or 180. But inside that you would find the pickup body, which is our fuel filter, a spark plug, and an air filter. And that's something that any consumer should be able to take care of with the basic tools that they have at home. When you purchase the product, generally there's a wrench that comes with it to fit the spark plug. If not, it's pretty standard, either a 3/4 or a 5/8. So shouldn't be anything that a consumer couldn't install. Why do we want to put a pickup body in our fuel filter? I mean, just think about how much fuel that goes through that engine. It's a good idea. I always tell the customer, when you go to remove the airbox cover, whether it's a unit like this or one like I have down there, I always put the carburetor setting in the choke position. And that means you close off the butterfly, then you can remove the air filter and less chance of any debris getting, falling down in it. There's different types of filters, and in the instruction manual with each product, it'll tell you how to properly clean it. Like this particular filter, you can wash it. You just would wash it in a soapy solution, and then of course let it dry. We have some products that are going to have a paper style filter, and anything that's paper, you never want to use compressed air on it, because you can damage the pleats and actually damage the fiber of the filter. Okay, so regardless of, depending on the product, whether it's a chainsaw, a blower, a trimmer, there should be most all of those units will offer a tune-up kit or service kit, and again, very easy to use. The next thing that I get asked a lot of questions, and if we all went in the room, training room right now, and questioned those 12 technicians that are sitting there and asked them what is the most common service work that you do today in gasoline powered product, it's going to be fuel related. They're going to tell you 90 to 95% of the work that they perform on their bench is involving the fuel system. And a lot of people blame ethanol for causing a lot of problems in our industry, and honestly it has added problems, but we've had fuel issues since the very beginning of time as far as gasoline products. And the key to it is making sure that everyone understands how to properly mix it and how to store it. That's where the big issues are. If we could, I always try to tell the customer, you only mix enough fuel to last for 30 days. Now you'll see in some manuals it's still printed at 90 days or 3 months, but all of that is being changed. Just take some time to get it all worked through. Gasoline can go stale as early as 30 days. And what happens is it's not stored properly. So let's start over and say, how do I mix my gas? First thing I'm going to do is go to a high traffic area, a fuel station that has lots of traffic, so that the fuel gets turned over quicker. We recommend 89 octane. We don't recommend 89 octane because our engines need that. We recommend that because the mid-grade has a little better additives in it. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but when the tanker pulls up to put fuel at the gas station, there's 3 different tanks that they fill that you can pull from: regular, mid-grade, and then super. But when they get there, they only have 2 grades of gasoline on their truck. They have 87 octane or regular, and they have super. So when they're filling the tank that we would call mid-grade, it's a blend of both of those. Okay, so that's why we recommend 89. So we start with an empty can, something that is designed to hold gasoline, and then you need to pick your mix oil based on the size can that you have. This happens to be a 2.6 ounce. It goes to 1 gallon, and we have a mix ratio of 50 to 1. So we offer a 2 gallon, we offer a 2.5 gallon, we offer a 5 gallon. It's all based on how much we're going to use. We put our lubricant in the container first, and then we will fill it with gasoline. Again, 89 octane. The next thing that's important is that we have a sealed tank. Our fuel can is sealed. A lot of folks are still using an older type fuel can that has a vent hole plug on the back of it, and they'll put it in their shed and they'll leave the vent open, or they'll fail to put the cover over the tip of the nozzle. And then the fuel that we buy today at a gas station is 10% ethanol, and that's standard. You know, there are some places that don't offer it, but for the most part, when we pull up, it's going to have 10%. All of our products will operate fine on 10% ethanol. We can't go any higher, which I know our government is wanting to do that. You know, they're recommending going to E15, and that's not going to work well in our engines. We can tolerate E10 without any real changes. What happens when that can is open to atmosphere, the ethanol will attract moisture. Ethanol is an alcohol, and it will attract moisture out of the air plus the oxygen from the air, and it can actually cause the fuel to degrade. So once we get moisture in there, then we can have something that's known as phase separation. I don't know if you've ever heard that terminology. But we can have the alcohol, the ethanol, and the water drop to the bottom of the can. So when we go to pour fuel in, it's always pulling it from the bottom of the can. We're putting water and alcohol, which will burn, but it's very corrosive and it's going to cause damage to our carburetor. So storage is important. A good fuel can, fresh fuel, shake it every time before filling. And again, make sure that you consume it within 30 days. If it's going to take longer than that, you know, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I would take it and pour it into the fuel tank on my automobile. We have a very large tank there. If I put in a half a gallon of mixed oil, it's not going to hurt anything. It gets diluted. Okay? So storage is a huge issue. The other thing that happens is, let's say that I'm only mixing a gallon at a time. Well, I realize over the weekend that I've got a project to do, so I need some gasoline. I don't have enough. Another problem a consumer makes is they go to the gas station with a can that's already got some fuel in it. They'll pour this on top of it and then finish filling the can up, and now they've damaged the ratio. No longer is it 50-1. It's a much richer mixture. And a rich mixture can create issues blocking and clogging up the exhaust screen in the muffler. It causes excessive carbon. Okay, so those are some of the issues we're facing with fuel. Okay?
I do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, and it's easy. If we didn't have it truly explained to us, we wouldn't think about it. You told me that this goes to 1 gallon. Guess what? I've got a 1 gallon can, but you have to always start with an empty container. And we see that not only from a homeowner, but we see that in the professional industry as well. Okay? The other thing is that there's lots of brands of mix oil in the marketplace. And of course, I work for Stihl, so I'm going to recommend Stihl. And it's not just because I work for Stihl. I know what's in this bottle. It's been tested, and I know how it will work in any engine. The key to it, again, is fresh fuel. That's the bottom line. So, what do we do at the end of the season and we're going to put the product away? We'll call it winterizing it, or depending on which product. Let's say it's the end of fall of the year. I'm going to put my string trimmer away. I'm going to put my blower away, possibly, my hedge trimmer. How do I prepare that product for storage? There's a couple of different schools of thought. Okay? First thing you need to do is get whatever fuel is in that tank out of it. So that's your choice how to do that. If you want to drain it and then put that fuel in something else, like I mentioned in your vehicle. But you want to then, one school of thought is I drain the tank, I start the unit up, and I let it idle, just sitting there in the grass, running, idling, until it shuts off. That will allow you to take whatever fuel is in the fuel line up to the carburetor and consume it. So, in most cases, we're going to be okay with that, okay? What we recommend here, going one step further, are you familiar with the product known as Moto Mix? This is a pre-mix. It's non-ethanol. It is actually what is known as a pure alkylate fuel, which means it's been refined to a higher quality than pump gas. And we've already got the mix oil put in. Yeah, it's got a price tag on it, and I understand that. You know, you can definitely buy a gallon of gas cheaper than you can buy this. But what you would do with this is use it as your winterizer. You can run it all year round, and if we can afford to pay the price, and be much better off. But I would at least try to offer it to a consumer as a winterizer. So I've drained the fuel out of the tank. I put a splash of Moto Mix in it, start the unit up, and run it to make sure I've got fuel into my carburetor, this fuel. Then I shut it off and put it away. If this can is unopened, it's got a 5-year shelf life. Open, it's got a 2-year. So this is the way to go. You know, if I started asking some questions, let's say you have a blower at home, or you have a piece of gasoline equipment, how much gasoline do you truly use in a year?
This year, hardly any.
Yeah, I mean, it could be 1 gallon, it could be 2 gallons. So with that in mind, have any of you had to pay someone to replace a carburetor on one of your units? It's probably going to be a price tag of somewhere around $75 to $100, maybe even $125 when you count labor. If they put a carburetor on, they put the fuel filter in it. So you can buy many, many cans of this for about $100. Okay? So strongly recommend the use of this.